Oh, hi there, and welcome back to Minecraft. I'm here in the NH13 server, and in this video, we're going to build a ice farm. Now, I know what you're thinking. Geeky, you're like god of the ice on the server. How come you haven't got an ice farm already? I mean, you live in an iceberg, you've got an ice shop, and you've just joined the Frost Masons. Surely you must have an ice farm. Nah. Unfortunately, I don't, and the reason for that is because I've been mainly living off the ice coming from inside of here, and well, it's hollow now. We can't. I mean, we can keep digging, but I don't really want to take away more icebergs because they're beautiful. So I think now's the time to start working on some renewable ice, and we see if we can actually bring some new ice to the server. So I've come out here to this remote location, which for security reasons I can't tell you where it is. But this little bit of land, this naturally generates ice, regular ice that is. And there's two ways you can tell. If it's raining and it's snow, then it's ice. Then it will form ice. Or if you just break it and just wait long enough, that will actually just come back. And I've already tested it, I know this works. So what I really need to do is start planning out the shape and the size of this. And I thought best way to do this would be to, well, look at the chunks. And if we build it sort of the full size of a chunk and just go, obviously, around the edges and use the inside, we can probably get a few different farms in this area. So, yeah, I'm going to start marking out some spaces and get started. Okay, so that's this chunk marked out. Had a look at some of the other ones, and basically, I'm not sure these will work as well because you can see, like here, the ice isn't going to the edge of the chunk. It may go eventually, but I'll get the impression that this one's not going to work, and some of the others maybe not as well. So we'll have to see what happens, and perhaps find somewhere a bit bigger to work on these later on. But we need to do a couple of little things now to make this actually work, because at the moment it's just a big bunch of ice. First thing I want to do is put a block underneath the ice, so when we start cutting out, we're not just floating in the water and swimming around, because that makes it very difficult to start mining the ice. So I just jump down here, and I'm just going to use dirt, because, well, we're going to be using a pick to actually obviously grab the ice. So it makes sense to use something that you can't accidentally break with Instamine when you're using your pick. Don't want that one there. So I need to... That's annoying. I need to fill in all this space and do basically that all the way along with dirt. Shouldn't take too long, but there's no point you watching, so I will see you once it's done. As you can see, that's all done. So that's the entire base covered with a single block of dirt. And I did mention about using dirt because we didn't break it with a pick. That's exactly why we're using the wood here, because if you try to do that, you're not going to break it, or you've got less chance. What we also need to do is actually put some blocks diagonally across the middle. We're actually going to raise this up, but I just need to get this space. So if we just do that, because it's a square, it will, fingers crossed, go exactly to the corner from one to the other. Perfect. So we need to go, I think I'm going to make that one higher. Yeah, one higher. And then we'll probably slab it off, just so we've got some space. And then we'll remove the lower ones later on, because we want to be able to walk underneath those. Otherwise, it just makes it harder to move about. So let's just do that. And then I'll do all that and then remove these. And I'll catch up with you in a second. And there we go. I've just put this here just so you can see, but that goes all the way along. It's just above our head height, so we're not going to be affected by it, and once this comes out, obviously we'll be affected even less. Now, the reason we did this is because ice needs direct sunlight above it in order to actually turn to ice from a water source. So what this is going to do is when we break these blocks, so I'll do this one here, notice I'm not using a pick, or at least don't have to. You can use a pick, but not silk touch. Once I break these, we will have water left. If I did that with my silk touch pick, I would just get a piece of ice, and that wouldn't work. So we're just doing this, and then all of these above here won't produce ice. They're going to stay as water, and when we break this block, that will become a infinity water source. So that's essentially how the mechanics of this works. It's really simple, but not everyone knows that. So let's just do all the way along. I wish I had another pick that didn't have silk touch with me now. That would make things a lot easier. And I wish I wasn't getting lag on the server. So 1, 2 more. Right, there we go. So that's all of those done. And essentially, that's it. That is it working. So what we can do is, we'll just get our silk touch. We'll just jump down here and go like that. And you will see as we come through, we won't break these wood because, it's not ice and it's not pickable by a pick. And all these other water sources are filling in the rest of it, so it instantly turns it straight back to water, which is really handy because it means that you don't need to come along with water sources. And then, yeah, grab the ice, and you can see already some of the ice is coming back. It does take quite a long time. The ice comes from the edges first, so it will come from the edges and move out. It basically needs an adjacent block attached to it that's not water or air. But we've just got quite a lot of ice from that, actually. So what we then need to do is hang around long enough for it to obviously freeze, and we can redo it. Or we can obviously look at getting other ice farms next to it or nearby so that we can just go from one to the other. But that is really clever. I love it. So I've just waited around for about 10 minutes real time, and this has all turned back to ice apart from obviously the bits I didn't want to. So that's not too bad, and there's plenty of stuff you can do in that time because obviously we're collecting the ice, but we are going to want to turn it to other types of ice. So I've gone and taken all the ice out of my inventory, and I'm just going to use it and just double check. Could count it, but let's just find out how much it is because we need the ice anyway. So let's just clear it all out, and that is so satisfying. Don't you think that's satisfying, breaking ice? I'd love it. It's one of my favourite things to do in the game. So let's just get all of this, and it's so quick. It really is. The longest part is waiting for it to actually turn back to ice, but that doesn't take too long. Like I say, 10 minutes for the entire chunk, and then obviously there's nothing stopping you from making more afterwards. So that's... Oh, just grab that. Okay, well that's 2 full stacks of ice. Oh, and a bit more. And a little bit more. And 54. That's not bad at all, actually. So I'm sure you're probably all aware, but obviously if you take the ice, you can put it all like that, and then you can turn it to packed ice. So this is regular ice. You can turn that to packed ice, and obviously it takes a lot. Like that, and then do the same with the packed ice to go to blue ice. So I'm going to spend a lot of time here. We can see 1, 2, 3. Wow, yeah, it's going too quick to count, but it comes back quite quick. So I'm going to spend a lot of time here collecting ice because it's nice and renewable and it's not affecting the environment, and it's anti-global warming. So that's what I'm going to be doing for a little while. Okay, so I've gone ahead and laid out a couple more little squares here. So they're all different sizes, but they're all the same shape, so obviously all squares. But this way, when you work on one, you can, well, whilst that one's loading back in, this one can be carved out and then move on to the next one, etc, etc, etc. So it just saves a little bit of time waiting around for it. There's nothing stopping you going in and getting these when they're sort of not fully done. But obviously, because the ice comes from the edges, by the time you take them out from the edges, you're actually slowing yourself down a little bit because it will start coming in and be less gaps. It makes sense. It does make sense, trust me. But yeah, I've been doing this and I've been having quite a lot of fun just removing all this ice, just jumping from one to the other and waiting for them to grow back. And it's really a good way, but it has made me think that I might want to look at maybe working on something a bit more substantial, because this is good, but it's limited. It's definitely limited. So maybe work on something bigger at some point. But I think for the time being, this works really well. It gets me lots of ice, and like I say, I've been very, very busy with it. If we just clear the last of those up and grab this, we'll just see how much ice we've got. They all fill in. That one's already starting to go. You can see. It just gives you an idea of how long it takes them to grow. That's the only problem. It just takes a while for it to actually come in. So let's just have a look how much we've got. A few stacks there. Do that. 39. And pop that in there, and we have a full stack. Okay, so we've now got a full shulker box full of ice and lots more to do. But I think, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a big like and a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and obviously tell your friends about it too, because if you like it, there's a good chance they will too. But as always, I've been Geek Gamer, you've been awesome, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.